Okay, so thank you for attending today's webinar. Um, Today we are going to have a very fascinating topic, like the digital patient engagement. And because the way is what a coincidence, because I just come up with a lot of idea about the digital patient engagement for myself without any contact with Amos. Right. And at the same time, actually, he posted like a AI, like a playbook for the dissertation engagement. Well, what a coincidence! We working in the same place, so we contact, and then we design. Yeah, it's good at topic to let other people know about it. So we just organized this webinar. So the Amos will talk about. He's a very brilliant expert in that space.
Again.
Yeah. And then actually that we just talk about it. We contact before about share my idea and then ask about help for the development. And anyway, so here share his experience about the what is mean by the AI for the patient, yeah, digital patient engagement. So could you start?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you very much. Yeah, I'm definitely not brilliant as, as you're mentioning, but I do appreciate that we've been in contact for, quite a while, and really sort of working on these concepts of digital patient engagement and the work that you're doing. I really appreciate the work that you're doing in getting these kinds of tools and information out to the world. So thank you again, Alex. So yes, my name is Amos Adler, and I'm co-founder and CEO of MemoText. MemoText is a platform for the development and co-creation of digital patient engagement programs. It is both a development toolkit and a marketplace where we co-commercialize a number of different types of engagement tools that we have co-created with institutions across the world, really. Um, just as a bit of a background, Memotex has been developing these types of tools for close to 13 years at this point. I like to say that's like 130 years in actual human years, but really with a focus on using data to identify risk and using data to tailor engagement to the N of one. That has been our guiding principle for the last 13 to almost 13 years or so. As part of that, we have built a toolkit, which I'm not going to get into the details of today. I'm going to here to talk today about AI in patient engagement and AI foundational elements that we all need to be considering. Um, and as part of that toolkit, there are a number of AI components that have been used for quite a while to build, validate, and scale engagement across multiple entities and multiple types of stakeholders, whether that's providers, whether that's payers, pharmacy, or even pharma. We have, as a result, developed a marketplace, which is a collection of tools that we have either in licensed from our academic and clinical partners or created joint venture startups in our marketplace that are in the space of either patient compliance or patient adherence, treatment adherence, care coordination, or patient support types of programs. Over the years, we've developed a ton of data. We have over 30 plus at this point peer-reviewed papers relating to something quantifiable and measurable in patient engagement, whether that is treatment adherence, medication adherence, efficiencies in care coordination, or other types of more granular engagement objectives like treatment initiation or even persistence in more specific types of programs. Um, the the platform that this is all based upon is really what we refer to as an ecosystem of integrations that allow us to pull data, health data, like claims data, like wearables data, like health risk assessment data for the purposes of both identifying risk and for the purposes of tailoring engagement to specific populations for specific use cases. The methodology that we really, in a simplified kind of way, we work with our partners, with our clients to identify the best ways of communicating with the populations that we're talking about, because not all populations are necessarily adept at mobile apps. Some may be more comfortable with voice, or some may be more comfortable with text messaging. But ultimately, all of these tools are connected in some way to some sort of data element to help tailor that engagement. And as you can imagine, over the years, we have developed a number of different ways of tailoring that engagement, everything from very simple types of communications to more logic-based, dynamic types of communications, inbound and outbound communications, and conversational capabilities. Everything from rules-based or intent-based chatbot types of tools to LLMs today, which are all the rage. I like to say we've been doing AI since before it was cool. So beginning in timeframe around 2016, we started into this world of both conversational capabilities and predictive analytics, starting with really old tools, something called AI ML, which was a very old way of creating pseudo bots and types of chatbots, to all the way to more rules-based, intent-based types of tools, and really the use of machine learning for different types of predictalytics, as we like to call it. So using AI and machine learning tools to identify different patient subpopulations, at-risk populations, looking at compliant or healthcare trajectories, and tools like time series analyses, which allow us to predict the trajectory of someone's medication behavior, the trajectory of somebody's complexities, and its cost. Obviously, all types of AI tools that allow us to identify risk or potential risk. Other uses of AI that I can quickly get into are identification of risk from what patients are saying. So this is a tool that we have co-created with a hospital called CAMH for the use of social posts to identify risk of relapse in severe mental illness, schizophrenia, psychosis. This is a tool called A4I, or the App for Independence. There's a number of components that are involved with this application, but in particular, we are in the process of training and validating the use of text to identify risk of mental health risk or relapse risk in more complex populations, and OUD, SUD types of populations as well. A number of other bots that or conversational capabilities that we have developed. Some are more rules-based. In the use of AI within patient engagement, some organizations, and still today, require that a lot of these conversations be very clearly mapped out, so that they are very predictable and transparent. These are examples of, for example, SMS messaging programs that then engage web-based data collection tools that are secure and compliant and interoperable for the purposes of collecting data for engagement down the line. More rules-based, intent-based types of bots with additional capabilities around free-form chat, so where people can text or SMS questions to a rules-based bot or an LLM-based conversational capability. So these are types of the differentiation that we can make in terms of rules-based or bots that are particularly transparent and explainable, all the way to LLMs and other kinds of tools. This is another tool for smoking cessation that is being run by a large hospital here in Toronto, Canada, called CAMH. These are both actual implementations that are live, being used for clinical trial purposes to assess the use of conversational engagement in patient engagement, all the way to LLMs. So if you go to memotext.com, you'll be able to interact with the MT Expert. This is an example of a secure, containerized, hosted LLM RAG type tool that that does not use ChatGPT, uses GPT-4, but it is an internally hosted LLM that is completely trained on all things Memotext, for example. This gives us the capability to train and deploy bots for specific purposes around more operational or care coordination types of activities. So that's just a bit of background on our background. I'm going to jump quickly into the AI playbook. So we decided to build this playbook, which is really a series of useful frameworks and recommendations and questions to ask yourself as you get into the health AI engagement world. Partially because when we started to deploy these kinds of tools, the people that we were talking to didn't even know where to start. And when we would show things, they would go, "Wow, that's really interesting, but I don't even know what I can use this for." There are there is a need to help people to identify their requirements in this world because ultimately, what we want to see is how AI can go from usefulness in these early stages to actual large scale deployment. What we don't want to see is pilotitis or the sort of frequent um, piloting of tools that never actually go anywhere because they don't meet any priorities of an organization. So what we're starting to develop here with our AI playbook, and these slides I'll make them available afterwards so that you can there's a lot of writing going on in these. So there's a lot to digest, and I'm happy to distribute these slides afterwards. You can also download it right here using the QR code. So really the tools, the playbook that we've been developing is a set of tools and a set of criteria to think about and to consider before even getting into the world of AI, agentic AI or conversational capabilities. And what are the requirements and what are the components and foundations that need to be happening before you even start in this world? So we built a playbook for this purpose. Recently, we released part one of the playbook. That's available as well. And there's three parts that are part two and part three are coming in the next month and the month thereafter. Part one is all about three things really: how to identify the use cases that AI would be most useful for. There's methodologies around soft systems methodologies or CRISP DM, co-design, design thinking, really to help identify the use cases that AI will best be suited for and start to get into the requirements for data curation, data tagging, data liquidity, all of those issues that really need to start happening in order to consider using AI for different purposes. It also gives a number of different examples of operational to clinical use cases. So this is really the differentiation from where there's low risk uses of AI engagement to higher risk AI engagement. So looking at things like care coordination or customer service or more logistics based types of questions for AI. Where is parking? Can I see my results? What should I bring to my appointment? These are lower risk tools that offer real efficiency today with the capabilities that already exist. Moving into more clinical use cases, that requires a lot more validation and potentially even regulatory. I'll get into that in a second. Part one really continues on governance and building out the governance models for AI, specifically around strategy, security, curation, regulatory, all of those things. It gives a few frameworks and really starts to outline those requirements for the data governance committee and the different things that they need to be thinking about, all the way to transparency. And that's the third part of part one around being able to explain the AI that is being deployed. There are tools and methodologies called XAI or explainable AI, and the use of tools like RAGs, which are very limited, AIs that are very limited in scope, and really starting to look at the difference between prescriptive AI and augmentative AI. So the real difference where an AI is making a recommendation, and the regulatory implications of that, because those are the types of tools that require regulatory clearance versus tools that are helping to augment a particular situation, whether it's providing a clinician with information or some decision support kind of tool. Part two, which is coming out in next month, gets into the nuts and bolts of implementation of AI. So looking at that problem definition, data collection, exploration, data engineering, pipeline setup, ensuring clean data, encryption of data, all of those types of nuts and bolts types of data engineering activities and modeling activities, and really getting into the tuning of LLMs and those types of items. Best practices, obviously, we've been doing this for 12 years, so we have a number of case studies. I showed you just a few around ensuring that these tools are effective, that they are integrated into workflow, and that they ultimately provide some ROI. And then part three is really about monitoring and KPIs. And the cool graphic that you're seeing on the side there is really actually a visualization of the trajectory of drug utilization for people with diabetes, and being able to map out and predict the trajectory of somebody's medication usage as they go along their patient journey. So these use things like time series analyses and machine learning models to identify who is going to end up where within healthcare, within a specific condition, within a specific population, and then be able to apply those tools or engagement tools to those particular populations. The real sort of takeaway from this is around value and making sure that those KPIs and the data that we are monitoring align to the healthcare requirements with regards to value metrics for healthcare payers, providers, and pharmacies and pharma. In the United States, there are a number of different healthcare quality scores that can be applied, a number of different adherence metrics that are useful for the purposes of essentially tying ROI and tying reimbursement to the data that's coming back from these different tools. The part three will also talk about addressing bias, ensuring that we have diverse training data sets, ensuring that there is continuous oversight and audits, and co-design, making sure that clinicians and families of patients and peer support are accurately represented and included in those development tools, in the development methodologies, and ensuring that these tools are relevant and culturally sensitive. Future directions. So we really don't want to predict the future. We're not good at predicting the future. If anything, we're really bad at it. But what we are good at doing is identifying what might not change. So we take sort of an inverse way of predicting the future, or predicting the lack of change in certain areas. So what can we then build around those and understand and adapt based on the things that we know won't change in healthcare? And I ask you to ask yourself within your organization, what are those things that won't change within your organization, whether it's regulatory, whether it's SDOH, we know that, complexity and interoperability are not going anywhere anytime soon in healthcare. We know that regulatory is not going anywhere. We know that the patient's role is still a key component in their own health. So what can we do with regards to the future and being able to develop to that? So if you have any more questions, just feel free to go over to the Memo Techspert at memotex.com. I have a number of different downloads and sort of links here that you can choose or take a look at from the playbook itself. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or send me a note. Happy to chat with you. And if you want a copy of this deck, just use that QR code I'm also sure I think Alex will be distributing this webinar as well. But that's sort of the high level overview of the playbook, and we would love to get in touch. So please connect with me. We have a number of webinars that are diving deep into some of these topics. Our first one's coming up in April 20. I can't remember the date exactly. April on navigating IRB and ethics review with AI in health. So that's something that's coming up, and that's it. Thanks you very much, Alex. You're muted.
Thank you, Amos. So we are going to have a separate Q&A session after my talk. So could you stop your slide sharing?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I must talk about very in-depth topic, right? Because very like technical, specifically in-depth, and then I'm going to talk about more general, and then I'm particularly that I'm show you that one use case actually I'm developing the proof of concept based on AI agent. So first I will share my screen first. So you can see my screen, right? Okay. So I'm briefly talk about what is a general like a concept and philosophy and the framework of digital patient engagement. Because patient engagement is meant to many different meaning to if you are in a different like situation or different like position in healthcare space. So for me, that I'm focused on what I'm now is to the the healthcare experience, right? Because how the stakeholders of patient or whatever, because the in the healthcare, the stakeholders maybe the center is a patient, but the stakeholders means like employers or sometimes like a insurance company or the hospital, whatever. So to the like eyes of the healthcare stakeholders, how they experience healthcare. That's what I'm so to get the experience, they need some engagement. That's what I define it. So I will give you why I interesting in this because I'm not thinking about what is the next of a healthcare service, right? Because I for like more than 1 year, I focused on very big picture of the healthcare and then focus on some specific technical area like AI in healthcare and digital health and other kind of like healthcare applications. And then I come up with the idea that maybe more structured way to like revolutionizing the healthcare is to that I feel that how actually like people or stakeholders get experience in healthcare, like in more senses, healthcare system. So I'm looking at the that I've been 30 years in other experience in other industry. I've been through whole kind of different vertical in all tech related, and then particularly, for example, in the like consumer electronic market. It's usually for the like a consumer market, right? Because so stakeholders they call like they usually call the customer is a king kind of the industry. What they are really focused on is to the customer experience. Right? So a lot of the like brains in, for example, Harvard Business School, like or the other like a brain in that like a business and especially the consumer type of the industry, they think about what is like next, and the recently their focus is to how to like now is AI and digital technology. So what this means to industry and then they propose like what is the next, right? So how we actually experience, right? So someone actually the Pine is I know him, and then he wrote several books, and then I actually before I have focus on digital health. Actually, I focus on what they call immersive experience type of they call metaverse. And then in the metaverse, that there is a multiple ways like you put in like a real space, virtual space, and like mixed space, and then they try to provide like all different like immersive experience, right? So at the time, I just know about this kind of like some framework, and then I think about well in healthcare that a lot of people talk about patient centric, right, and the value based care. A lot of people talk about, but actually I never seen that there is a good framework actually that more conceptualize and make more framework. So I think about that. Well, that's a good opportunity to to bring this idea to healthcare and then combine with my technology focus, AI agent, agentic AIs, because they are autonomous and they are very conceptually, they experience, they self-running everything. So they can provide different way to bring experience, health experience to the patient and other stakeholders. So this is motivated. I'm looking at that. Basically what I interesting in is that uh, what AI agent can do for this kind of like healthcare patient engagement? So they're kind of like the most. There are many different features. Actually, I put some in the like another like a slide about there's some in-depth like explanation of that, and I wrote a lot of the papers and the articles and the books about this topic, and I also organized a lot of the webinar before, but the mostly that they understand behavior and then communication naturally and non-continuous. These three strong factors can be make like a patient engagement is much different level, right? So so, so AI agent that powered digital patient engagement means that they are intelligent, personalized, proactive AI system. So improve communication, self-management, adherence, and outcome in healthcare. So actually, if you look at this general framework with what Amos talk about, actually they are related. Amos focus on specific topic, like for example, the risk factors of the some mental health problem like a person type or like a like administration or something like that. Actually, he focused on very technical detail, but in general, what talk about is like they want improve communication with the patient, and they provide one to self-management and adherence and outcome. So this is a general framework. So why it matter? Um, so higher engagement means that the higher experience, right? For example, the value-based care model, actually, the how you can prove that you have a value-based care, right? It's kind of like higher engagement. So the patient actually that they feel that they experience more value-based care for them, and then by doing actually that, what I'm thinking about is that okay, so the kind of like the what I experience consumer like market, they are very the consumer is king, but in the healthcare actually that they all talk about patient centric, but I never think that they think about is a patient is king in this industry. But what I'm thinking about is there is another layer, even if that the like a patient will be not will be proactively working on their right to be like center of the care. Actually, there are another guy like government and the payers also. They also like care about. So actually, the branding is healthcare branding is very important, I think. And then brand loyalty can be done. Like for example, that you have like a concierge service to the patient and your reputation is high, and then for example, I'm living in the small town in near Boston actually, and then here is a lot of the small hospital type like doctor's office. They are not actually the hospital, doctor's offices. And then here is the population in here. A lot of people are getting older. They heavily I heavily be here for 20 years, and a lot of people living more than 10, 20, or 30 years. And then they are very loyal to some specific doctors kind of the office. So branding is so important. And then in long-term care management and satisfaction is very important, right? Okay, so then use case, there are many kind of the use case, and then Amos already talked about several use cases. I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to show real life demo of my developing use case in the mental health. So I will show them. So branding is very important, and also like a text through the AI agent, right? And then in the future, what I'm thinking about is to the prison knowledge is based on real-time biosensor data, so they know about you very well in an emotional way, actually, to bot your health assistant. And augmented peer support system is kind of like in the future will be all can be integrated this way. So I wanted to share this slide. So if you want more detail, I have several articles about this. So yeah, this is one concept. Actually, the perception, brain, and the memory decision-making action is a concept. So I'm going to show you that this one. Actually, what I did was like the I developed like a lot of framework. How what can you done in the healthcare agent, and then I developed some my own AI agent. So I'm going to show you this demo in real time about it. AI agent powered pre-treatment digital patient engagement platform. So this is one actually that I'm just I'm going to show you the proof of concept that means that in the healthcare office is especially for the mental health screening that I've contact with many different type of the healthcare professionals mental health, and their common challenge in operating in mental health is to like engage with the patient because of the characteristics of this health condition, like as mental health is very, very like people to hesitate to come to the clinic. And then there are a lot of the like burnout of the clinical people or something like that. So I just think about AI agent, how much they can be have to this situation, and then improve the patient engagement, and more people can be engaged in the get the benefit and get the service of that. So I designed that as free like a pre-treatment digital patient engagement process, and then I just put it in as a like a framework, and then I make as a module, and then each module is done by the like a AI agent type. They can process all different tasks. So my demo that I'm going to show is the three different type of AI agent is kind of like a mental health screening and profiling is still like, for example, that uh, for all the screening of mental health is one of the issue, and the accuracy of the screening is issue, and then before even you see the doctor, actually the doctor can be know about what your current status, so they can be prepared more. So it help you to through that, and then also based on this screening, actually to meet with a good therapist is another layers. You need to have a good a quality of the medical service. So I just provide the therapy matching algorithm in here, and then after that, actually, it give you like automatic appointment itself is very 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 like pain in neck, and then so intaking, and other from the starting to until you actually see the doctor, I make a walkthrough, and then I make it as an agent. So and then actually the before I show you live demo, actually that I developed a bunch of this kind of thing because recently for nearly 2 years my in-depth like research and experience in this healthcare field and AI application in the healthcare, and this especially digital health like digital therapeutics, diagnostics, remote patient monitoring, clinical trials, and drug discovery stuff. So I just touch of phones, a different area I can apply. So I developed 12 different type of like AI agent can handle it. to like attacking some current challenges and something pain in neck, and then some useful tools to that. So I'm going to show some have time, and then I'm also looking for that someone actually adopt my idea and then further develop as a product, further develop as innovation or initiating the project, something like that. So by saying that, I will show you what is in by my concept demo, right? I will show you. So this is actually the AI agent that I implemented in my ChatGPT. So it see that patient intake risk assessment and therapist matching and appointment scheduling will be automatically done. So I actually I developed and then I tried. It was fun, and then it's a just proof of concept. It's my either work can working, but actually to implement as a product, actually, as for example, the almost talk about like a lot of like your like the interactive medium is a smartphone, mobile app, something like that, and then it can be like interact with the voice and multimodal like voice image and not just text. But this is a limitation, so I only interact with the text, but it can be like a voice and then other like multimodal interaction, and then utilizing different type of the like communication platform, smartphone and other computer will require. So this only show the proof of concept. So what I designed was the initially the patient intake module that actually the initial clinical assessment. So I just look at the what is the standard of care type of the adopted, well adopted like a screening assessment. So PHQ-9, GAD-7, and CSSRS is I just because I saw that there are dozens, so I just look at the simple one first. But I think that the more showpiece can one can apply. For example, I did like for example like ADHD and then autism type can be done. And another that I tried was like for example, Alzheimer disease like can be done. And then more like recently I have a talk with some mental health doctor about applying to like a pediatric like a child mental health problem is more involved in the patient engagement process. But anyway, because this is just a proof of concept that it can be generalized, but it's like a show the snapshot that what kind of like a utility of this kind of like initial engagement. And then it show you trees model like risk assessment, right? And then stratification of the urgency, and then patient need with the preference, and then automatic scheduling. So, so here is an interactive way. So just instruct the ChatGPT that first that ask about when this is a situation that when it is implemented in your smartphone and you just initiate with like hello, for example, like I'm interested into like to have some screening about the my mental health state, and then it'll be give you some kind of like interaction. So say yes. So it just to give you like a PHQ-9, right? So it give you very simple type of the multiple choice. So what I think about is in the this is actually the limitation of the in the text based, but in the future will be more and more like user friendly interface. You can test it, right? So but anyway, because it can be interactive, it actually can work, right? Because if you type something, right? So I will give you just anything, just arbitrary one here. So it guided me to like as possible as a simple way to I can give the answer, and then it did interact. So after this one actually that it count the total score and then it give you interpretation. So moderate the diffraction. So it give you some like so what kind of like a situation or something like that. And then it will give you guide like a diffraction and another test is anxiety test. So actually, for me actually, this is my first time actually ever test this kind of task. I never had any kind of like problem with the mental health, but I was very curious about like some kind of like this kind of interactive because I researched a lot of the like digital has type solution. Actually, they passively monitoring your status. Like for example, they look at your face here, like something, or the like your eye tracking, something, or your voice tracking, and then they analyze using AI. And passively, they try to find out the screening whether you have some symptom of kind of like a mental health problem. But uh, actually, the before go there this kind of like the traditional, but to make a simple medium, like a simple way to interact with the patient is much helpful. So I found that even not going to like using for example emotional like analysis using AI and then find out whether you're is a mental state like a emotional like a status. Before that, I found that even in the traditional like ways that there are a bunch of the way actually the AI can be in can have a lot. So that's why I shift my view on like how AI can and have in the healthcare is not just like a significant like a technology involved like using for example very like in-depth knowledge required and then technical I think that there are a bunch of the like this kind of application that simple idea, but it can help a lot with many people. Kind of this one. So this is motivation that I just developed this kind of thing that even in the like a traditional one, but AI agent can provide a different way to actually the can you can experience healthcare. So this is my definition of AI agent power patient engagement. So I think that I will skip. So this is a conversational mental health. So they ask about like this is one actually I cannot make like in the voice, but my intention is to make some demo in the utility in the voice mode. But so it definitely really understand your conversation. So it a conversation through the patient and understand like a mood assessment like so it is more conversational. So it asks about interactive way, and then I just skip. And then it generate a profile. So based on assessment, actually the doctor it have the doctor. So what your current mental state, right? Based on this chart, actually the doctor can prepare to talk with you and then preparing their like a treatment planning. So it give you some like a guided like answer of the your what is your like for example some recommendation, what kind of thing you need to do, like this kind of thing, right? And then it is going to like a patient matching. So based on your profiling that and needs of you that it try to like uh, to get the like what would be the like for example, it give you like tell what you prefer. So like I want in person, right, therapy, and then it try to find out the clinic. Actually, it before actually it has some system interact with existing clinic near you, and then have a database. Actually, the AI agent is a powerful search and then make some analysis. So I didn't put it in here, but actually in the like a system, actually the AI agent can have build up this kind of like laboratory about the like nearby you like localized by the region and then specialties, something like that. So it give you like some way. So it'll give you some kind of like a best matching therapy to recommend you, and then it have you to like to have appointment with that. So and then I will give you a skip. So they give you the whole process to ask you about what is your preference and what is your need, and then what type of like for example what type of the language, something like that, and then it'll give you some kind of like do you have any insurance coverage or so, so it's about the whole kind of like before your engagement or the appointment, and the next step is therapist data look at it, and then matching criteria in person therapy, and then based on this the patient actually that it recommend you Dr. James is arbitrary by putting there, but anyway, it's like some workflow. So it give you some recommendation, and then it's refutation or some. So it kind of like a referral of this process. Referral process is easier on your needs of your based on your screening, your interaction with you, right? And then I will give you the skip of next step, and it'll give you the final step. Okay, and then and dynamic learning of just and then give you like the completely successfully, and then automatic appointments. So it'll give you like a automatic appointment process. It can done. Okay, so I will stop here because you see that I actually to look at the my demo video. I hold the process, right? It's fun, right? So I saw you, and then we have like 5 minutes to like have some Q&A. So if you have any question, and then or like a comment, anything, right? Because I'm now also working on more elaborate like some patient like engagement stuff, right? Because what I'm doing is actually I'm doing some more system weight, and then for example I'm doing like a the through the concierge service to how can you have a more experience. So I'm extending service to mental health clinic to other clinic, also like some kind of like employment or relationship management, something like that. So please attend my next webinar. I will show you my idea. But anyway, because I'm looking for Lily, because I'm looking for someone actually that have a good idea based on my idea that the develop actually can implement in the clinic and make them as a like a real project or something like that. And I welcome anyone to recommend or the anything that you to comment. I welcome. Okay. Amos, do you have any comment about
Oh,
what I've
sorry, I
done?
was muted. No, 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 it's fantastic. I think obviously, these things are early and but like it's amazing that the types of adapt abilities that the tools can adapt to and to gain insight from you take a natural language conversation to be able to apply it to a PHQ-9, right? So those are awesome types of use cases, and yeah, I hope to help you with taking some of your ideas from prototype to reality, and it's important to get these things out there to be out here talking about it and sharing, because the implications for what's happening here are huge. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what my vision is that because this kind of AI agent, that the beauty of this is that they are interact with you and that they getting more about you. They learn about you, right? They then adapt, right? This is really patient engagement, like a personalized patient
Yeah.
engagement,
Yeah.
right? This is one
Exactly.
I saw that's so powerful, right? And then application, all right, in
Mhm.
healthcare, many kind of like a interactive assistant, right? Right. So,
Well, yeah, and that's this is, the question is going to be where is this sort of applied first, right?
right.
Because some of those, for assessments, 100%, like this makes total sense, and it's fairly low risk, right? Once you get into like what do you do with that assessment, that's a bit of a different
Yeah,
story.
that's why actually that because that's what actually that I'm looking at the like a risk spectrum for me, right?
Yes,
Because
exactly.
it's kind of like an assessment and then just like a disclaimer. It's nothing to do with like a diagnosis. It's just to give you some hint about what your like mental state, and then it's just a recommendation, and then finally you will be have a see the doctor, right? Right. So in that space, like just a recommendation, and then maybe more involved, like a kind of like a, for example, clinical decision supporting system type, right? Is a work with a doctor, and then more professional, right? And then have like for example like based on like a pre-screening and based on your treatment with a conversation like a scribing with like a patient conversation, I recommend you this kind of like a treatment planning, right? And what kind of medication, something like it can recommend, right? But in like I mentioned, the most risk factor is that they decide something, right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm thinking about. So my goal is to in the future that you have your own personal doctor in
Mhm.
your smartphone, right?
Oh,
It's
that's
a
interesting.
vision, right? Because it go there, long journey, and then a lot of thing technical overcome, right? But in the starting small, like in the applicable one area, and then like a risk hazing, and the one by one, and the more mature, and the most thing is that like a technical liability, right? And then so it will happen, right? Is
No, no, and there's people working on, I know for a fact, you working on essentially federated data for the individual, right? So your own data set that your GPT or your agent is drawing from, yeah, so to have your personalized engagement, your personalized clinician in your pocket, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how long it takes. It's going to be a while before that sort of regulatory, stuff gets through, but that's where this is all going, 100%.
mhm. Okay, so maybe it's time to stop. Tomorrow I have another webinar. The topic is a little bit serious than today because that's a casual AI. So that's a like cause and effect type. So some application area, especially the precision medicine, so usually the statistical type model of the deep learning or machine learning is not enough, right? For example, in the drug reproposing or the like some final new treatment and drug actually that people to understand what actually they decide to have this kind of treatment. They're utilizing some multimodal data. So tomorrow topic will be much serious. I'm going to talk about a lot of like the challenges in the precision medicine, but it's fun topics. Actually, I have like a manuscript now. I'm going to publish this one another like compact book about what is meant by the casual AI agent. But this is a very recent topic, and then I'm going to talk about the only essential because I just learned about this topic recently, and I found that it's very fantastic topic to explore using including AI agents. So so all things actually that I'm interested in the AI agent is that they're powerful to do something task automatically and autonomous way, right? So I'm just looking at, and then in this space, actually, the what is beauty is that because it's, some may, for example, a lot of people about the data is silo. For example, it's like oncology problem, and then there are a bunch of the data available through the world, and the data siloed, and then they are connected, right? But one thing that I'm thinking about is a solution is that AI agent, like utilizing for example federated learning type like AI agent can learn in a privacy aware way, and then looking at the specific database, and then get the essential part of data and then bring the data to utilize. This is this is really like great impact, right, in healthcare system. That's what I'm thinking about. And this is one idea that, for example, the bring the precision medicine to care about like a cancer treatment, whatever, that how you get data and how to utilize it. So I have some ideas. I'm just find a pattern about how to utilizing all kind of like a multimodal data, put in like a casual AI agent, and then find out the precision like a diagnosis, treatment, and drug discovery and something like that. So I will send you some invitation. So it'll be tomorrow. It'll be fun anyway. So I hope to see you tomorrow again. And then I'm also we will yeah I want to talk with you more about more engaged with my idea. Really want to make it a deal, right? So let's reconnect. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you to attend
Bye,
today's
everybody.
webinar. Thank you everyone. Take care. Bye bye. Hope to see you tomorrow.